Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting episode of the Shots Fired Podcast, DFW. As usual, and as always, you got your boy Big Joe.
Got your boy Two Tree.
You got your boy Julio the Don.
And off screen, Mr. J.
We got producer Jay Had in the building. This week, we're going to start out with a topic that we've addressed in a prior episode, but it just keeps happening. The talking heads are having a field day with it. And I do think it came from a place of sincerity. And I'm kind of torn in how I want to really feel about it, because part of me says the guy that's saying these things is right, but part of me also says that the talking heads clapping back, they got a point too. So what we're going to talk about first is Micah Parsons versus everybody again. It's the media this time. And basically what he's saying is keep that same energy about all other teams, the other 31. Don't make the Cowboys a special exception. Like, let's keep it a buck with everybody, because Cowboys get the most scrutinized, but you also hear, oh, well, the Cowboys also get the most praise. We as Cowboy fans, we hear it all the time, right? You hear, Cowboys fans are so annoying. They think they're the greatest thing ever, and blah blah blah, and the Cowboys and this and that. And not every fan is like that. I do think that every fan goes into the season thinking, you know what, our team is going to be good. They're going to be competitive. The fan that's like, oh, we're going to win it all at the start of every year. I mean, it's a nice thought to have about your team. You really want to believe that, but realistically, maybe that's not the point. But you go into the season with high hopes, right? That's what I'm ultimately getting to. See, let me ask you this, man. When you heard Micah basically, saying Dak's unfairly scrutinized, he hasn't really seen anybody else kind of get scrutinized that same way. They don't talk about other teams the way they talk about the Cowboys, especially when the Cowboys are down. What do you think, man? Do you think he's right, or do you think he needs to, just cut away from talking on this podcast about stuff like that?
I really think he's fighting a lose-lose battle, to be honest. I mean, you battling opinions at the end of
Yeah.
the day. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. So whether or not Dak is unfairly scrutinized, I mean, at the end of the day, who cares? Go out there, play well, they still going to have something to say. Go out there
Right.
and throw 3 interceptions, they still going to have something to say. So to me, as a Cowboys fan and as a Cowboys realist, my suggestion to Michael would just be let him talk, bro. Just go out there and prove him wrong. At the end of the day, to me, it's as simple as that. Like, we are the Cowboys. They're
Yeah.
always going to have something to say about the Cowboys. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to be the topic of discussion. We keep the media going. When
Exactly.
football activities aren't going on, who do they talk about? The Cowboys.
The
Yep.
Cowboys. Yep.
I do agree with that, T. That's a great point. The other thing is it shows in the numbers when the Cowboys are down bad, sports talk is down bad, because that's what everybody wants to talk about. If the Cowboys are having a bad year, then it's no fun. Nobody wants to chime in. Nobody, you don't get the banter of Cowboys fans saying, that's our team versus Cowboys haters that are like, y'all's team sucks. Like, there's no banter there if the team is down bad. You know what I'm saying? Um, Julio, what do you think, man? Do you think Micah's got a point? Or like T said, do you think it's a lose-lose, and no matter what, he's going to come out looking
I'm gonna
bad?
I'm gonna have to agree with T on this one because yeah, like he said, and we've had this discussion many a times this year throughout several podcasts, where we say, you know, yeah, we do get the brunt end of the stick as far as when it comes to criticism from the media, but we also get praised every now and then, very rarely, but every now and then we get praised from the media as well. So I think that one of the I can't remember who said it. I can't remember if it was Stephen A. Smith or Shannon, but one of those guys was like, if you're on the Cowboys team, you're going to get the shine. No matter who you are, no matter what player you are, you're going to get that extra shine from the media because you play on the Dallas Cowboys team.
Mm-hmm.
There's no going away from that. Our expectations as Cowboy fans is already super high. The rest of Cowboy Nation, because that's why we're called America's team to begin with. We all have this expectation of all of our players. Again, I think you mentioned it before in another podcast, is we have this thought in our mind that just because they play for the Cowboys, they should already be playing at an upper tier level, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to put it that way. And a lot of times, because we already have that pretty much monkey on our back to be able to play off of that, you can't really, there's nothing you can do when, like I said, it's one of those things, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Whether or not you have the correct assumption of the Cowboys, or whether or not you say the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl, either somebody's going to think you're crazy as hell, or somebody's going to say, yeah, I'm with you all the way. The Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl. So again, I agree with T. It's a lose-lose situation because everybody has their eyes on the Cowboys. The media will always make us to be either the greatest thing on the planet or the worst thing that's ever happened to football. It's one or the
Yeah.
other, and it's never a medium. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think for me, the biggest thing that I took from it this week was Philly losing to the Jets. And you turn on Speak. I don't watch it. I'll catch a clip on YouTube or something like that. I'm definitely not out here watching it like religiously, but you see the clips of Shady McCoy, who is biased. He's a former Eagle, obviously, and Joy Taylor, who's, I don't know,
A Cowboy hater.
it's almost like she's developed a relationship with Shady of, we're going to be the trolls on this forum. Anyway, for them to come into the set the next day, Jalen's throwing 3 picks, and I think he fumbled.
Yep.
And they're like, "Are you worried about that?" Like, he has not looked good this year. He's been very pedestrian this year. And they're like, "No, because we're not worried about him like we are about Dak, because we know his ceiling. We've seen what he can do. He's an all-pro. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's could have been the MVP." What they don't mention is, what about when he was benched for Carson Wentz? What about when Philadelphia fans were begging Howie and them to get rid of his ass because he wasn't any good? But he has a good year last year. And I'm not going to say a good year. That's downplaying it. He had a great year last year. That's the anomaly. He has not consistently shown you that. So for you to come in and present it like, oh, he's always just been that guy. No, he hasn't. We've seen what he can do like that one season. But then the argument is, well, what about Dak's rookie season when him and Zeke were killing it? Well, he's not been consistent. Jalen has not been consistent. And he's reverted back to who he really is this year. So you want to have this conversation of, well, you've shown me who you are over time with your consistency. Jalen has shown you what he is. He had a great year last year.
So
But
now we're on the Jalen hate now.
No, absolutely not. This is not Jalen hate.
Obviously
this
not.
is facts. But what I'm saying is, when you get on the show and you're like, Dak had 3 interceptions, oh, this and that. Jalen had 3, and it's like, we ain't worried about that. What?
And that's the thing. We've been talking about that for so long. And again, whenever we stand up and bat for Dak, it's like, what has he shown you? What has he shown you to show you that there's consistency there? A lot of things that a lot of these media big heads want to talk about is, oh, well, Jalen made it to the to the NFC Championship. He made it to the Super Bowl. He made it to here. He made it to there. And whenever it goes back to the conversation of Dak, it's like we know that he's less than Jalen because he hasn't made it there.
He's
He
won 2
hasn't
wild
gotten
card
to the
games.
show.
He's
But
won
this-
2
Yeah, he's
wild
won
card
2
games.
wild card games. That's all he's won. What has he done to prove that he's on the same level as Jalen?
Right.
But when
But
you
is
look
it-
at the overall stats,
Is it facts or not? Is
It
it
is
facts
facts.
So
or
when
not?
you look at it is
But
facts.
this-
No,
but
when you
this
look
is
at it from
where-
that perspective,
Go ahead, T.
then yes, it's
This-
facts. Go ahead, T.
This is where Dak will be, unless he wins the Super Bowl, Dak will be considered to be like how Tony Romo was. And I'm
Yeah.
on record saying that
Romo Jr.
I'm not the Romo fan. I did not like Romo as our quarterback. I don't want to say I didn't like him. I didn't believe in him like everybody else did. But if
I
Dak
was a
doesn't win the
Romo
Super Bowl,
sexual through and through, bro.
yeah, I mean,
I
at the
love
end
Tony
of the day,
Romo too.
at the end of the day, if Dak doesn't get to a Super Bowl or at least to an NFC championship game or take us
Right.
further than what Romo did, he'll be considered in the eyes of the media or other media that he's just like Romo. He's Romo Jr. So, and I would hate to put that on him because in my eyes, I do think that he's done better for us than what Romo did because he hasn't been as hurt as what Romo was.
Mhm.
Given he's missed what, like in totality a full season out
With
of
that
his
broke foot.
7-year
Yeah.
career.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
and he
And
still
some time
had
and some time with the double surgery that they tried to hide on his
And
ankle.
now-
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, for total games, he's missed what, a full season.
Somewhere in there.
So
And now,
Yeah.
he
Now,
still has
look-
years left to play. So it's yet to be seen what he'll do. But I will say this: given his contract, given what the Cowboys, I'm gonna say won't do as far as adding top tier talent, like how the Eagles went out to get AJ Brown. The Cowboys went out and got Amari Cooper, and that was a great trade.
Yeah, it was.
Right now, I feel like we're missing that. So I will say that if we don't get there, meaning the Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 years, including this season, Dak has passed his time to get there, in my opinion. So
Statistically speaking, Dak's already passed the window where most quarterbacks have success in making it to a Super Bowl. The likeliness of him making a Super Bowl at this age is way less than what it would have been 3 or 4 years ago.
prior
That's
to the
just facts.
contract,
That's
Yeah.
just facts.
but see,
Statistics will show that.
But that's where
Sure.
we went wrong when we could have gave him less money while he was still young, like
Yeah.
the Eagles did with Jalen, and added more talent and potentially got there. We've
Yeah.
added talent here and there, but we've really tried to build through the draft. And that's not to say that we would have done that because I really don't believe that we would have traded more first round picks like we did for Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
But like you said, statistically, we've passed that. But I do believe that he has right now, to me, he has a 2, maybe 3-year window if he stays here to get to at least an NFC championship game. And if he doesn't get there, it's time to move on.
Yeah. And
Look-
I'll bring it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
let me get this out before I forget. The Micah versus the media.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, you asked me. I put a butt in our group chat, and rolled my eyes, and you asked me what that was about.
Yeah.
That was about don't talk about it, be about it. And if you're not going to be about it, don't talk about it. And if you put that star on the side of your head, 1, you got to have thick skin. 2, don't cry about it. Be about it. I mean, we talk about Dak comparison and Jalen, and we'll get back to that because to me, honestly, you really can't compare the two because one has been in the league since 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and Dak is on his 7th year.
No, he's on his
8th.
They came in 15, right? So it's his 8th year.
Yeah.
So there's really, what are we comparing? You know,
You're comparing a guy that's what I'm saying is it's the goalposts are always moving
sure,
with
but
people. It's
but
when you
what?
go apples to apples. Okay, Dallas beat the Jets, and it was before the game. The Jets has a great defense. They're gonna do, we'll see what Dak really has. Dallas is one of the few quarterbacks this season that did not really struggle getting the ball moved around against the
At the beginning of
Jets.
the season. Yep.
So then it was, oh well, are the Jets really for real? Like, are they
I mean,
really good? And
that was game 1 or 2.
that was 2. And Zach Wilson's in, not Aaron Rodgers. So
But
blah
yeah,
blah blah. And then the Eagles play and they lose, and it's the vaunted defense of the New York Jets. Did you see how good that defense was? You're moving the
but
goalposts because that's the
the
same
narrative
defense we play.
the narrative always changes when it comes to the Cowboys, and that's
Right.
never the
Yeah.
same when it comes to other
That's what
teams.
that's
But
Micah's
we,
exact
Yeah,
point.
so
but
Yeah.
here's the thing: we've known that for how many years? It's been like
We
that since Jerry.
we know
hold on.
that.
Since Jerry,
We
hold
know
on,
that
hold
as
on.
fans. Micah has not.
Let me talk.
Micah has
Go ahead.
not.
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead. Go
Can I
ahead.
talk? Can I talk? Let me talk.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's been like that since we've been kids, bro. Since Jerry has built this team, it's always been that way. Always. So now, why is it a problem? You know it's gonna happen. Why is it an issue?
You didn't have this type of media outpouring like you did when Jimmy and Jerry were
No,
winning Super Bowls. You
we
didn't
didn't
have
have
it's a different monster. You didn't have people on
we
social
didn't have social
media.
media.
You didn't
It wasn't
have
a thing.
talking heads like that, like a Stephen A or a Joy Taylor or a Shady McCoy. You didn't have that.
I'm not one to say shut up and play, but like when you start going back and forth with the media and all that, it takes away from what your focus should be on. And your focus should be on football. Not worrying about what the media does and what they don't do and all that crap.
I mean, I can partially agree with that. Like at the end of the day, go out there and play and prove them wrong. Like I said,
Right.
just prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Like let the media do their job, and you go out and do your job. Period.
Yep.
Yeah, but ultimately, and we'll move on after this, but ultimately, what I do feel like is the biggest thing that's kind of getting lost in the sauce is Micah saying, if you're gonna hold us to this standard, then
Hold everybody else to the same
the
standard.
31 other teams deserve that same standard, and everybody's generic rebuttal is, you're the Cowboys, y'all are America's team, most valuable
Highest
North
grossing.
American
Yeah.
franchise, things like that. You haven't won a Super Bowl in 28 years.
25 years or 28, whatever.
28.
Yeah.
Are they lying?
What does that matter?
Are they lying
That's
though?
not this team.
So
That's not this
and
team.
here, and that's the thing is that irritates me because I'm always the one that points at me when I'm like, when you guys ask, do you really think we're going to win a Super Bowl? And I say, hell yeah, we're going to win a Super Bowl. And of course, I always get the, okay,
You're
sure,
the
you're
guy,
not
you're
being
the
a
guy
realist.
that I was saying
Exactly.
gives us a bad rap
Yeah.
because it's almost unrealistic. And that, but again,
Yeah.
like T said at the
So
beginning, everybody has an opinion. That's your opinion.
exactly, and that's fine, and that's okay. But the thing is that like you said, they always end up moving depending on where the Cowboys at. If you're going to hold us to one standard, if you're going to hold us to those 3 Super Bowls that we won, why don't you hold the rest of the league to their Super Bowls that they've won? Why don't you hold them
or
to the
haven't
greats or that haven't won or the greats that played before them? Why don't you hold them to their standards? Why is it always just, oh, well, Dak doesn't play as good as Troy Aikman. Tony Pollard doesn't run as good as Emmitt Smith. We don't Trayvon Diggs doesn't cover people like Deion Sanders did.
Right.
I mean, we could sit here and talk about and argue about that all day. And again, Jay, you're absolutely right. I'm going to agree with you on that. It's not about what you say. It's about, stop talking about it. Just be about it. And you're right. We should be about it. But at the end of the day, everybody has their own opinion about how the Cowboys should be either up here or they should be, they're fucking trash. They're just, they're no good.
There's no
So
middle.
there's no middle. There's either real good or it's, oh, they suck. What have they shown you? Have they shown you any consistency? Have they shown you any this? Have they shown you any that? And again, last game that we played, 11 for 85. We can go back to the penalties. That's what killed us in that game. That's why we barely squeezed by that game. But yet when we play and we're on and we win by 38, 40 fucking points, nobody makes a big, it was, one of those things. Who did they play? They played the Jets. They played the Giants.
Right.
Who else did they beat? So it's there's never a middle ground, and that's what's irritating.
But like you guys said, ultimately, I think what you were trying to get to was actions speak louder than words, and until your actions speak louder than your words, you're going to keep having this debate.